Welcome back to the Kentucky History Podcast. I'm your host, Jamison Cable, and over the next few months, we're going to have short, quick interviews with people who participated in, helped organize, and helped build the fort at Fort Logan. We want to bring as much attention to the fort and the things going on around there so we can keep the momentum going and get the fort completed. In today's interview, we're talking to Kenny Baldwin, one of the reenactors here at the siege of Fort Logan. We'll have links in the description about how you can donate to help get the fort completed, how you can get involved, and how you can keep in touch with the events going on at the fort. I'm here at Fort Logan, it's the siege of Fort Logan reenactment here in May 21st, and I'm sitting here with Kenny Baldwin, one of the reenactors, and just again, another little quick episode about the reenactment and how you can get involved and help and what is going on here at Fort Logan, because a lot of things are happening. Brings you back to about, back in the 1770s when things were literally happening and getting started. So Kenny, thanks for joining me. How you doing?
I'm doing good. You doing all right today?
Doing all right. Sweating a little bit, but that's
right.
Common.
It's that time. It's this global warming.
yeah.
We used to call it summertime.
Yeah. Well, I get a good hot day, but then all of a sudden I get a 30 degree weather day the next day. Global warming. What? This is hot and cold. It's Kentucky weather. Yeah.
It's that time of the year.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit what you're here for as far as being an reenactor. How long have you been doing this?
I've been doing it right at 30 years, maybe a little more, but really in depth for about 30 years.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot that goes into it, a lot more than you'd expect. And are you local just to one spot, or how's that all work?
No, I've been all over the country. I've camped in Indiana, Tennessee, Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, and it's just, kind of regional for me. Mm-hmm. You meet a lot of the same guys, and there's only certain times you'll see them certain camps of the year, and it's like family. It truly is. I mean, you may only met this person one time, but if you sit down and share a meal around the fire, you're automatically family. I mean, it's just how it is, and that's what I love about this. This hobby is that you got a really good core group of people that are like-minded and hold the same values and the love of history. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm beginning to realize with a lot of the people who's coming in here. Everybody knows each other. Oh, everybody's been in this, and they've been doing it for a while. And anyway, what about your role here, though? Your specific role? Let's talk about that at the siege.
Today, I'm going to help out the natives, mm-hmm. and basically, they were here trying to run the white man out of mm-hmm. their land, and protect, what was theirs. Mm-hmm. It was nothing malicious about it. It was just like you're trying to take away from my family, my well-being, and we don't want you here.
Well, a lot of people, forget it's survival.
Yeah,
it's survival.
It really is.
What it's come down to, and that's still true to today's people. Trying to survive.
Yeah.
Different circumstances. This was 200 some years ago, so it's a bit different, but definitely had a role to play. How would people get involved in reenacting?
One of the biggest things. I mean, I really think if you really want to get involved in it, first come out and kind of check out what we do as far as doing educational parts for the public. But really, for me, it started with a love of history and a love mm-hmm. of outdoors and just the overall umbrella of that time of how they lived and what they done in that era.
Yeah.
It just rang true in my heart.
Yeah, and I see kids out here today. Of course, I would love to have more kids, more youth, all that stuff coming on. Thank you. That stuff as well, because that's how it'll continue.
Yeah.
The more people get engaged, involved, the better it'll be.
Yeah, and I was down there talking to one of my friends. I've known him for probably 20 years, and we were talking about we're getting older. I'll be 53 here in a couple of months, and I was telling him, I was looking back through some of my old pictures. And I looked like I was 10 years old. And like some of the guys that helped me get started and taught me, how to do it right, mm-hmm. they've passed on. I mean, they were my age when I met them.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things, you never want to forget the history and how we got here, even though some of it may not be, mm-hmm. The shiningest, brightest star in the sky. But, it is what it is. Yeah. It's history, and we need to learn from it and preserve it. and understand, the mentality of this, what built this country, and stay kind of grounded in that in some ways.
Yeah. Before we before we end here, what tell us your Kentucky connection and all that as well.
As far as my family connection, my family actually fought with George Washington during the Revolutionary War. He was a supply sergeant.
Yeah.
And we actually have, different correspondence of handwritten letters between the two.
Oh, that's real cool.
And we've always been in eastern Kentucky, and then I guess I've kind of moved as far west as any of us. But we still have, family here, and we just grew up, close to the land and close to history.
Yeah.
And we're fortunate in this area of Kentucky how much history we have within 50 miles of this spot.
Yeah. I often, this is the centerpiece of Kentucky history. You think of Harrodsburg, Stanford, and Boonesboro, Richmond, and so forth. It's really, really where it started. So, but anyway, anything else you want to do?
No, I just I think if anybody really wants to get involved and really from a standpoint of enjoying nature, because you spoke of it was survival, and one of the biggest things that drew me to it was just how did they eat, how did they provide for themselves, how did they and to me it was just one of the coolest things that you could ever learn how to do as a kid running through the woods. It kind of hooked me right there.
Well, I know people listening have heard me tell this story many times, but that was the get for me is my mom taking us to Fort Bensboro when I was young, and that's just how it goes, how it grows as well. Well, thanks for joining us. Again, if you want to donate and help get the fort complete, there'll be links and stuff as well. You can click on the Facebook page and on the podcast app as well. So thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time. Don't forget to try out audibletrial.com/KYHistoryPod to get a free book of your choosing. If you'd like to support the channel, check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/KYHistoryPod. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification button for more Kentucky history content. Find us on these social media platforms and check out the Kentucky History Podcast on these podcast platforms for more in-depth history of Kentucky. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.